Hi, wonderful people. It's your girl, Miss Donzo. Welcome to Team Generation Sawa YouTube channel. And today we are gonna be having a question and answer about our organization and what is all about. So before any other thing, I'd shared on my social handles, on my WhatsApp stories, on my Instagram stories, and I asked you guys to ask me any question on regarding Team Generation Sawa Foundation. So today you're gonna walk through this journey with me, get to know a little bit about me, kidogo to see sana, and how Team Generation Sawa Foundation was born. So first and foremost, who is Miss Donzo? Miss Donzo is a young, happy soul, ambitious, and also a humanitarian. And Miss Donzo is also the founder of Team Generation Sawa Foundation. And Miss Donzo comes up from a very humble background. I was raised by my grandma. We are a family of 5. I am the only girl. I have 4 brothers. Unfortunately, one passed away, but you'll get to know about him as we continue with this vlog. And yeah, so I was brought by my grandma. I love her so much. My mom left to the US when I was 4, and she left me and my late brother Bengo. And let me say, life wasn't challenging because my mom was always there for us. She supported us financially. She supported us with our education. My grandma was always there for us, and let me say, my grandma really tried. Alijaribu sana kuona that we will become something in this life. So she really tried. Her being a single grandma, I'll say there were challenges here and there. Of course, as a young child, not having your parents there, it was very emotional. Sometimes we'll go to school, and my grandma is those typical grandmas, as you know, the typical Kikuyu women. Let me say, she was just a work guru. Like, she was hardworking. She was really hardworking. I remember she would wake up at 5. My grandma ametulea na groceries. She was mama mboga, and let me say that her work has really paid off. I am who I am today because of her work. I remember she would wake up at 5 a.m, prepare herself and go to Marigiti, and she would, even there some days she would go there wakati ananyeshewa, she gets rained on, and it's quite emotional because she never gave up on us. No matter what the challenges was, she never gave up on us, me and my brother. And I'll say I love her for that, because she showed me what strength actually means. And strength means perseverance, and she persevered, and she never gave up on us. And grandma, I thank you so much. Nakupenda sana. If you're watching this, just know I love you so much. So me and my brother, we just grew up as a normal, as any other normal kid. And unfortunately, 2019, September 6th, I lost my brother. And let me say, it was a blow, because you can imagine somebody that you grew up with just as normal siblings. You grew up loving each other. You grew up having those siblings fight, munapigana. You grew up sharing secrets together, and then all of a sudden the other one is no more. Me, I'll say it was very emotional for me and my family. I want to take you through kidogo on that period. I want to take you back to 2019, September 6th, when I lost my brother Bingo. I remember we had undergone so many challenges that year, and I won't mention all of it. Maybe that will be a story for another day. Anyway, so me and my brother decided we take the leap of faith and we start life. And that's the time that we moved out from home and we started life. And I remember we took a bed sitter at Roysambu, those sides of USIU, and we stayed there for 3 months. Unfortunately, after taking the leap of faith, life had its own plan. I'll just say that. But my brother was an amazing human being. He was just amazing. Bengo was full of life, full of companion. He was the real humanitarian. And I remember that day he died. That week, me and him were not in good terms, and I was trying so hard to fix our relationship because I knew no matter what, he's the only person I have, and he's the only person who can understand where I was coming from, because we grew up together. Any challenges that I faced in life, he also faced the same challenges. So I knew it was time. I had to make things work between the two of us. So I remember that day we woke up just as normal siblings, had fun in the morning, and he told me that he needs to go and spend some time with his friends. And I, of course, him being a grown-up, I just said, okay, you go. And I asked him, what would you want me to make you for dinner? And he told me, you know what, sis, natamani chapati na maragwe sana. And I told him, you know what, I'm gonna make your favorite today in the evening. You just come, let's have a good bonding time. And at that particular time, he left, and I was in communication with him on phone. And I remember I kept on calling him, are you still coming? He said, yes, I'm with my friends, but I'm coming. So cut the long story short, kafika jioni, and he was not yet back. I'd already made the chapati, I'd made the beans, and yeah, but he never came back to eat the chapati and beans. I remember I called him that day. I kept on calling him. I called him. I kept on calling him, and I remember the last conversation I had with him, he said he's coming back home. And then a few minutes later, somebody else calls me with his phone and tells me, hi, Kathy, brother yako Donzo has been hospitalized. Somebody stabbed him and he's bleeding to death. Those words, I'll tell you for free, those words crushed me. I don't know, but I was with my friends. I had two of my friends, Stacy and Jojo, and I just started crying. I don't know, for no reason. And I remember my friend Stacy told me, like, babe, why are you crying? You know your brother is a strong guy. Unajua Donzo hakuna mtu anaweza mtishia, and that was his character. He was really strong. So I took a leap of faith and I said, you know what, let me go and see how bad the thing is. And I went. I remember when I was arriving at where he was in the hospital at Kasarani, there was blood everywhere. Like, it wasn't the best scene. And I just requested the doctors. I said, can you take me where he is? And the doctor said, okay, follow me. And remember I told you that me and my brother had our differences that week, and I was trying to make it up to him. So when I entered the room was full of blood. Like, where he was even lying, there was a pool of blood, and I was numb. For a moment I became very numb. Yani mwili yangu ikakuwa baridi, because that sight was very imagine, my life stopped for a minute there when I saw my brother lying there in a pool of blood, very helpless, and doctors were trying to do first aid on him. And I remember he looked at me. Sorry guys, this is so emotional for me. I remember he looked at me and he brought his hand towards where I was, and I held his hand so tight, so tight, so tight. And then a few minutes later, he let go of his hand and he said to be with his Father in heaven. And at that particular moment, my life crashed, guys. Like, you can imagine somebody mumelelewa na yeye, mumekula shida na yeye, you've gotten in trouble with, as in somebody who was your brother, your blood. Let me just say, it was so emotional for me. And he set off to be with his father. So I did what I did. I called my grandma, of course, because my mom was not there. I called my grandma, and I remember breaking the news to her, because my grandma has really been through a lot with us. Yani ametulia na shida, na it was so heartbreaking calling her to let her know that her grandchild has passed on. So my grandma came to where we were, and I remember when she was given the opportunity, because the body couldn't be taken to the morgue without my grandma being there. So I remember when she was given the opportunity to come, there are words that my grandma said that up to now I have never forgotten. I remember we entered with her in the room where my brother had just slept peacefully, and my grandma broke down. Guys, my grandma broke down. She actually really broke down, and she asked God so many questions. She asked God, why would you give me only 18 years with this child, to bring up this child for death to take her away? God, is this punishment enough? I've been through a lot with these kids. I've gone through a lot of humiliation through one. And for a moment there, guys, I reflected our whole entire life. I reflected our whole entire life ever since we were young, the way we were happy with my brother, with my shosho. And at that particular moment, guys, I realized that time waits for no man. Time waits for no man. So to cut the long story short, my brother's death hit me real bad. It hit me real bad. And I asked myself so many questions. I asked myself, Kathy, what are you doing with your life? Where are you headed? Unaelekea wapi na hii maisha yako? Look at your brother, he's dead. He has nothing that he'll be remembered of. It is just the memories. It wasn't easy. And I remember my brother was a loved young man. He died at 18 years. And that time, when, to cut the long story short, fast forward, that time when we were having his burial, I realized that my brother was a hero. Not to us as a family, but to people we barely even knew. He had so many friends, children who looked up to him, children who, I mean, he had so many people who looked up to him. I remember one boy came and gave a testimony. His name is Babu, and up to now he's really a good friend of ours. Like, he was my brother's best friend. He came and said that my brother was a true inspiration in his life. My brother used to take things away from the house, even his mattress. Like, my mom will send clothes, shoes from the US, my brother will take it away. And I remember we kept on accusing him and telling him ameuza hizo vitu. And that day at his burial, guys, you can imagine finding out that whatever you used to accuse your brother of stealing and selling, he actually used to take things from the house to go and give it to the less fortunate in a slum called Karewa. I remember there's a day his mattress went missing, and my grandma and I were on his case. We were like, wewe, umeuza mattress yako. We can't believe that you can stoop so low, that taking things away from the house, going to sell them for you to get small petty cash. And imagine that day at his burial, we found out that my brother wasn't who we thought he was. We found out that so many people looked up to him. He used to help so many people without us even knowing. He used to help the people of Karewa, and he is a legend. Up to now, he is still a legend in Karewa because of his kind heart and how he used to treat those people like they were his fellow human beings. He never said because they were from the ghetto, they are not deserving of his time, affection, his love, of his things. He, at that particular moment, it hit me and it said, wow, I just said to my mind, you know what? As from today, I will live through my brother's legacy, and my brother will not die in my heart and in other people's heart. And everywhere I will go, I will give a testimony of my brother, and I will tell everybody that Leonard Irungu Bengo was the best. And despite the fact that he never left anything on this earth, he never had his properties, he never had an heir, he left something of integrity, he left humanity, and he left peace in so many other people's life. And that's how Team Generation Sawa Foundation was born. Team Generation Sawa Foundation was born because of the love that my brother showed us as a family. He actually even challenged us as a family that giving and caring for the less fortunate and not treating anybody less is what he actually left. And yeah, so for those of you who have been asking me how Team Generation Sawa Foundation was born, it was born in memory, loving memory of my late brother Leonard Irungu Bengo. So that story was so emotional, and I hope it inspires you. And without any further ado, I don't want us to deal in the emotional part, but I actually really wanted you to understand where I'm coming from and why I do what I do. So I'm gonna be reading some questions that you all asked me. I have them here on papers. You all asked me this. I had asked you on my social handle to ask me any question that you feel about knowing Team Generation Sawa, and I felt it was important for me to give you this very sensitive and emotional story of my life, because for me it inspires me every day, and I am who I am because of that particular story. And Team Generation Sawa Foundation, it is what it is because of that particular story, and I hope it will inspire anyone that is watching. So without further ado, I will start. So I'm just gonna pick the questions randomly, and we have the first question here, and the first question is, What can you tell people who don't value humanity and charity?